Hello and welcome to the Extreme Improv Podcast. My name is David Pustansky and today I'm joined by not one but two guest improvisers on the show. So to begin with, we have, and I'm going to get names wrong, so you'll just have to say them after me to correct me as I go wrong. It's Marith Venderbosch.
Marith Venderbosch, yes.
Marith Venderbosch and Theo Langason.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes,
Langason.
First go. Okay, so how are you both today?
Good.
Really good, really good.
In fact, where are you both today?
We're actually in Oegstgeest.
Oegstgeest? Where is that?
It's close to Leiden in the Netherlands.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
And what's the weather like there today?
Great. It's really warm, or at least if you're out in the sun. So it's a beautiful day again.
There's a little bit of a tease there, because as you started saying the word great, I thought you were saying grey, and I'm currently in England, where it is very grey. It's very grey outside, not a hint of blue in the sky.
I'm so sorry for you.
Don't worry, we're very used to it here. Okay, so this is the Extreme Improv Podcast. It's not the Extreme Weather Podcast, so we will get off the topic of weather shortly. So, guys, can you just tell us a little bit about where you do improv, who you do improv with, how you know each other? Is it through improv or whatever? Just tell us a little about yourselves.
Okay, I'm gonna start. I do improv in the Netherlands with several groups. Right now I mainly do what some people would refer to as long form improv, so narrative stories, but also montage based formats, more associative.
Mm-hmm.
I did theater sports for, as we call it in the Netherlands, for a really long time. I started off when I was 15.
Wow.
And then I let it go for a bit when I went to college to do theater. And then I got back to it when I moved to Utrecht. So I've been on the game for quite some time now. And yeah, I play with my main group, Rocky Amaretto, but also some groups like the Ferocious Four, where we do English improv in the Netherlands. So yeah, that's it for me, I guess.
And I do improv in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in the United States.
Cool.
And I have sort of three main things that I do. One is with a group called Blackout, which is a group of all Black improvisers, and we do the form that we use is we have like conversations about a topic chosen by the audience. Sometimes it can get very like serious and heavy.
Oh, really?
But then we do scene work based on the conversation, and so it's a really nice way to balance. We can feel things very deeply in the conversation. Blackout. I'm also part of a group called the Theater for Public Policy, which is a group that interviews like public officials and like local celebrities, and then we do scene work based on the interview. And then I also
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I was going to say, it sounds like you dabble a bit more in some dramatic improv there.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it is everything is fair game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Funny and sad and happy and angry. I don't know. It's
everything that comes up in life.
Exactly. And then I also have a solo show that is an improv poetry show that is definitely fits in with that dramatic mode, which it's more like more emotionally impactful and less of the ha make 'em ups sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that's fantastic. So how does the not dramatic? I keep adding that word now. How does the improvised poetry work? How long does a poem last? Do you do how many poems in a show? How long does a show last?
So, right now in its current form, and it may change, but right now the show is about it can be anywhere from 15 to 45 minutes. And the way it works is it starts with I take the audience on like a sort of guided memory where I have them think about their happiest time, and like really have them live in that moment. and then they speak words that of the things that they're seeing, experiencing, feeling, and then based on those words, I make a poem that's usually between 5 and 10 minutes long.
Wow.
And then I'll interview different audience members specifically about their memories. And then I either will do poetry or songs. I also have my guitar on stage. Poetry or songs based on those interviews. So yeah, it really all depends. So, but like, I think the longest I've done it for is like 45, 50 minutes. And like, I can also I can do a 5-minute version, you know?
Yeah, that's great. Great thing with improv is it can be very flexible.
Yep.
It makes it great for getting gigs sorted out, because whenever with Extreme Improv, someone's like, oh, we need a 20-minute slot. It's like, we'll do that. And then we can take it up to the 2 or 3 hours or until we're thrown out at closing, you know.
Go on for 24 if we want to. Yeah.
Sorry, what's that, 24 hours?
24 hours, why not?
Have either of you done a 24-hour improv?
No.
No, I've not done it yet. I've just seen in the UK there's like a 50 or 52-hour improv thing, and I see about year after year, and it's like I can't quite fathom it. I'll have to experience it myself one day.
It's amazing. I was talking to some of the actors that are doing that this weekend. Were at the Amsterdam Improv Festival, where we were a couple weeks ago, and it just sounds insane. It sounds like it drives people insane, both performers and audience.
Yeah, but it's bound to be some positive therapeutic stuff you get out of it. You know, cleanse your soul, let everything out.
Yeah.
Okay, so Marith, I will just say that we've actually met before. We met at when was it? July last year, July 2018, at the Zeal the Pride Festival. Just tell us a little bit about your experience of that and what you did in that show, your memories of it, because it's cool too.
So that was actually really great. We got invited to perform at the Pride Improv Festival, which was actually going on during the Pride weekend.
It was.
Which was fun, because I don't think if I didn't have a proper reason that I would have gone to London to experience Pride there. But yeah, it was a very nice and small festival with in a bar and just a few performers. I was there with the Rainbow Warriors, a Dutch group that before or still mainly consists of men that are gay, and I got to be part of it for a bit. And I also performed a duo show there with one of my friends from the Rainbow Warriors, Mark, where we tried out first dates. So I think, especially in the UK and also in the Netherlands, we all know the concept from the TV program, right? We see people go on an awkwardly fucking date, or however you want to call it. And just see people meet each other and see if they fall in love or if they have anything in common at all. And that's what we played out there. And it was just a great festival of so much diversity, you know, from you guys, you know, with more of the short from quick thing, what we do with the Rainbow Warriors as well, towards what Mark and I did. And also is it the Kings? They were like the what are they called? The something Kings. It'll come back to me. I'll have to look them up. Yeah. What are they called? It's like a drag prov. Yeah. Like drag kings as opposed to drag queens kind of group. I can't remember what they're called, which is really bad of me. I know. Same here. I'm gonna look it up for us.
Yeah, do it. Is it the Bareback Kings? The Bareback Kings.
Oh, the Bareback Kings.
Bareback Kings.
There we are.
Yeah, they were great, fun to watch. And for anyone listening who doesn't know them, they're all from my experience seeing them anyway. They're all girls who dress up and they're kind of set characters as guys. They've got these personas that they've crafted over however long, and then they take a suggestion or two from the audience and play around in their characters from there. Yeah. It's good stuff.
Really good stuff. Yeah. And I hadn't seen something like it before, so that makes it extra nice to go on a trip for improv and see something you haven't seen before. I think that's the best about traveling for improv sometimes.
Absolutely. So we've chatted a little bit of improv. We'll talk some more improv, but I think we should play a short form improv game, as we always like to on the show. And so, as there are three of us here, let's play a game that can have three people involved. Are you up for this as well, Theo?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Okay, so I think, just to choose something, we're going to play a nice, easy one to begin with. Let's just do a one word at a time story, and then we'll move on to a more scene-based one. But from you guys, can I first have a suggestion of an emotion? Sunny. That's an interesting emotion. I like it. It's not the most obvious answer, but I think we all understand what it means in terms of an emotion. And can I now have a suggestion of a place of work?
A mortician.
I love it. I love the contrast there. Okay, so we will tell a story about positive feelings, feeling sunny at a mortician's. Now, if anyone just listening to this, they may not get, just as we work out the logistics of this, if I start this, we'll go around in a circle with Theo, you following, and Marith, you third, and then back to me. So we'll go, from my perspective at least, clockwise around the circle. But this is audio, so this is all very confusing to anyone listening. So we're feeling sunny at the morticians, and here we go. It
is
a
very
sad
day
here
at
the
morgue.
I
wanted
to
have
a
good
time
in
my
office,
but
then
one
man
came
into
the
office
with
a
dead
body.
It
was
my
mom.
No!
I
Shout it.
Mom!
I
Love
you
from
the
bottom
of
my
heart
as
my
mother
laid
at
her
deathbed.
all
the
Family
gathered.
around
her.
They
said
They
were
sad
but
also
happy
because
she
was
with
her
money
and
that
meant
she
could
leave
this
earth
with
no
regrets.
the
moral
Of
this
story
is
money
is
the
joy
of
everyone's
pockets. The end. Okay, wow. Took us a little while to find some sunniness in there. I went.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it's an interesting thing always playing one of these kind of games where you try to get the flow of it. Obviously, where you're not all in the same room. But what I always like to say after playing a game, what are any thoughts or tips or advice for any players out there who listen, who might want to learn as well as just enjoy the games?
I think with a game like this, you already mentioned it, the flow. So just shout out words, even if you don't know how the sentence will work out because of it. I always tell people to, can I swear?
Yeah, go swear away.
Fuck grammar.
Fuck grammar.
Grammar does not exist in one word at a time. I mean, it's great if it happens.
Yeah.
But to get into the flow of it, don't worry about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, when something's written down, it might not read perfect if it's written in a particular way, but when people speak, we do all kinds of quirky things with just as we say words. So yeah, you can really get flow going by just going for it. Okay, so let's come back a little bit. We may have already had a little bit of this in the introductions to you guys earlier, but for people listening, tell us a little bit about how you first got into improv. What appealed to you? What attracted you to it?
I just saw a show. It just started happening in the city I lived in, grew up in. And I don't even know why I went to that show. I went, and I from the first game that I saw, I guess, I was like, this is for me. I should be doing this. So right after that show, I went up to the person that at least seemed in charge.
Yeah.
And I was like, how can I join? Like, no other question. Like, can I even do it? Mom, is this okay? Because I was 15. And can I have another hobby? I had so many hobbies going on already. I was like, nope, this is what I'm going to be doing for, well, turned out the rest of my existence so far.
So far, of course. Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Theo?
And so improv was like always like a smaller part of my theatrical education since I was like 12. And then I went to college for theater, and then have been making theater professionally in Minneapolis for the last 8 years now. And in the last like 4 years, opportunities to do improv have started. They sort of just manifested all of a sudden, and I was like, okay, let me go do this game or like hang out with these people. And then I joined Blackout about 3 years ago, and ever since then it's been like more and more improv all the time.
Do you still do other theatre stuff, or is improv taking over?
That's my day job is regular theater, and then
when you say you make theatre, do you direct? Do you write? Are you just an actor?
I do it all. It's acting,
perfect. Yeah.
Admin.
Yeah.
All the things. But yeah, and improv is like to me feeds into that in a very natural way, and then also the theater, the skills that I have from theater also feed back into improv. So I feel really comfortable on stage, and I love doing improv because it's like I don't have to do like I don't have to learn my lines.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Are you learning lines for anything at the moment?
Not at the moment. I'm going to be doing Midsummer in May.
Amazing. Which character?
Bottom.
Oh, brilliant.
So I have to start learning those lines now because it's going to come up really quick.
If you don't learn them, you may make an ass of yourself. But
see what you did there.
Yeah.
See what you did there.
I like it.
Okay, that's really cool. Okay, so let's come on to play another game. And it's a game that we often play with Extreme Improv. With Extreme Improv, we try to have a few games that we think are unique to us, probably made up 27 other places around the world. But if not, then we'll spread them around somewhere. And this is a game we call Alliteration Anarchy, and it's a bit more of an extreme one, as it can be challenging, but it doesn't need to be challenging. The rules of it are: we're going to perform a scene, all three of us. And literally, you can say anything you want. However, there is a goal or a task or whatever that we're going to try and achieve. In the scene, each of us is going to be assigned a letter. And as much as possible, we want the words that we individually say to begin with that individual letter. So we're trying to be alliterative, as much alliteration as we can possibly cram into this.
I might slip in a Dutch word or two.
Do you know what, dude? Okay, just before we come to this, I was going to ask. So you're speaking English and you're speaking English beautifully, but is in Netherlands the native main language, is it Dutch?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, no, you use what? Okay, and one other question on that. Like, so when you perform improv, is it in English? Is it in Dutch? Is it in both? How does it go out there?
Both. Because in Utrecht, where I'm based with my main group, it's Dutch. We do Dutch, except obviously if we travel with that group to festivals. But yeah, in the Amsterdam scene, the people that I know there mainly do English improv because they are expats or are American or Australian or whatever. So I do both the same amount, I would say. The teaching and everything is mainly Dutch, of course.
Cool. And Theo, how about you? Do you speak any Dutch or?
I've been learning a little bit since I've been here, but not enough to put it down on recording where everyone can hear my.
No, absolutely,
Yeah. So just English.
Yeah. Okay then. Do you know what? I think we should keep this one English then. Sorry, Marith.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to play Alliteration Anarchy. So first thing we need is a scenario, a location. So can I have a suggestion of, in fact, let's make this a bit more interesting. One of you guys finish this sentence for me. Rumor has it that
America will soon sink into the ocean.
Wow. Okay. Good job. You're currently not in America. Okay. So rumor has it that America will soon sink into the ocean. Okay. So let's go round the circles. Theo, can you suggest a letter for Marith to have as her primary letter that she'll try to say as many of her words as she can in?
What about S?
S. So that is S for Sierra, S for sugar. Okay. Marith, can you suggest a letter for me?
Yeah. I want you to do B.
B.
Banana.
B for banana. Okay. And Theo, I will give you the letter T for Theo.
Totally.
So we have the letter S, B, and T. So once again, just to go over the rules, we can say literally any word we want, but as much as possible, we want the words we say to begin with this letter we've been assigned. And we'll play this for a couple of minutes, and then at the end, we can work out if we did any good or not. Okay. So, here we go. Boris, Brenda, borrow you for a minute?
Sure.
Totes.
Should I come to you, or should I wait for you to step in my office?
Both. Bish bash bosh. Boris, beneath Brenda, burrowing on the earth, big trouble.
Terrible. Tony, tell me twice.
Boris, Brenda, the brown earth is beginning to sink below us.
This, talk about tongue twisted. I can't tell you.
Brilliant.
Do you have any tea?
Brown tea, black tea, burgundy.
Chula tea.
Balm, no.
Stop.
Brenda?
Someone said that soil beneath me is
Broken.
To do what?
Break. Broken soil beneath Brenda's big toes.
What triggered this terrible truth?
Big question there. Boris, begin your explanation.
Tanya told me 'twas Trump who twisted the terror and set us all toward certain terribleness.
Bastard.
Shithead.
Balls.
Tits.
Sorry.
Bloody hell. Right, now we've got that out of our system. Brenda. Begin. And see. I think we've run dry there. I think we did well. It was a good stab at it. I don't know that we actually solved the situation, but I don't know it was our duty to. How did you guys find that?
That got me in my head.
It does a little bit. It does.
Yeah, but it's
and
fun.
It's fun. Obviously, if that's a new game for you guys, like because like we go out of our way to come up with games with difficult rules or stuff, just basically to justify why we call ourselves Extreme Improv. But like with any improv game, once you've got a sense of the format, you start thinking, it's like, oh, how can I play with that? And it eventually becomes second nature, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of so there's short form, there's long form. What would you say, guys? Would you say are the challenges of each? Which one do you perhaps prefer doing, or something like this? Talk a little bit about the formats we work with.
Ooh. I'm not sure if I would use the word challenging in any case, but it feels like both are different, and it's also depending on what you're focusing on. Because in either you can really focus on story, or you can focus on finding the game, right?
Yeah.
So let it loose a little bit, and then in short form, we mainly come up with the game up front, like we did just now with the alliteration game.
Yes.
We say we're not going to discover what the game is. No. These are the rules, the ground rules. And I think sometimes the difficulty is to break free of those rules again once you're in the game.
Yeah.
Also, you have to have adapted the rules to break free again. And I think that's sometimes the difficulty with improvisers, where if you just start out, that you feel like you want to break out straight away. But I think you need to kind of go into the rules and be very strict about it for a little bit. So after that, you can just do whatever you want and take the rules that you like best, or just go with them loosely.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's maybe challenging, or just like the fun bit about all those short form games, where you go, oh great, I'm gonna restrict myself to this, and I don't know what's gonna happen now, but it's gonna be fun. Yeah,
absolutely. How about you, Theo?
Yeah, I'm similar in that like I do more long form, but with like a similarly where it's like finding the game, so like with a short form mentality a little bit. So it's like, even though the scenes like may connect and like we're pulling from like all the montage is like, it might be narrative, it might not be, but it's always like, what's the game, and then how do we like do that to the max? Like how do we do the game so hard that it breaks the game?
I like that. That's a good idea.
And so like that's what in Blackout we do that a lot. It's like, what, even though we're like, a lot of times we do have a narrative thread that's sort of coming through. Within that, we're always trying to find the game, and then trying to like really do it really hard, almost to the point of nonsense.
But I'd say that's in short form and long form. That it's always a challenging thing from within the scene, if you're in the scene, to recognize what the rules are that you just made up, essentially, and really push through on them, really follow through, stack it, build it as high as whatever tower, so it can either collapse or it's balancing like on this tiny bit, and people are going, "Ooh, will it fall or will it not fall?" That's kind of the tension the audience can feel as well.
Yeah, it's amazing the energy you can build up with the audience.
Yeah.
Well, because audiences, they love danger, right? And it's they don't want to see us playing it safe. They want to see us performing at the very precipice of our capabilities. You know, and they love it when we fall, and they love it when we don't. You know, as long as we're on the edge.
Yes. Do you know, it's an interesting thing, just because audience, like within in improv, we embrace the idea of failing and failing big, and audiences love it. So when you fail, they enjoy it, they love it, they love to see, and they know as well that we're improvising. I think, and that you could probably tell me some examples of this otherwise, but if you saw something and you weren't sure it was improvised to begin with, sometimes it won't necessarily come off as well, but as soon as you know something is improvised, you just have a different appreciation for what people are doing on stage. Because I can't even think. There was a film I saw, and I was watching it with a friend, and when I first started watching, I was like, I don't quite get it. It's like I wasn't so keen on the dialogue and the connections between everything. And then I watched I forget what it was. This was a couple of years ago, and it was a few more minutes of it. And I was like, you know what? I think this whole thing is improvised. And I was just like suddenly watching more intently, because you don't necessarily think it with a film. And then I was like, I'm going to Google this, and I was like, yeah, this is improvised. And I was like, oh, this is brilliant, because it was all improvised, and it's got a slightly different feel. But when you don't know something's improvised, it doesn't quite have, you perhaps don't have the same energy as an audience member.
Actually, recently I did my solo poetry show in Amsterdam, and for whatever reason, there was some guy in the audience who missed the part where it was improvised.
Ah, right.
And so he comes up, and I ended up telling this poem about about my father being a fisherman and me growing up and him taking me out fishing for the first time. And it actually was it went really well, and everyone was really emotionally invested. And he comes up after me and asks me if I basically invites me if I want to go fishing with him and his friend the next weekend. You know,
amazing.
And he said it would be nice to have a fisherman on the boat. And I was like, oh no, I'm not a fisherman. And he looked, and the disappointment in his face was crushed my soul and his, apparently, because he missed, and all of a sudden he was not interested in me. He was like, oh, you're not. Oh, I thought you were. Oh, okay. And he just walked away. But that's sort of in that interesting setting up the expectation, you know, and how that can help and or hurt you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so one of the things I like to do on the show every episode is throw it to you guys. Now, do you have a short form game that perhaps we can play on the air? So it's not always me throwing stuff at you. Something perhaps that you'd like us to try.
Yeah, I have one, and it might be similar to the alliteration game, but I don't mind, because I love playing this in Dutch, and I don't know if I can make it work in English, so that's going to be interesting.
Let's give it a go. I love it. Let's experiment.
What are the AIYU? That's the
vowels?
The vowels, yeah. So it's the vowel game.
The vowel game.
Vowel game, where each of us gets a vowel.
Yeah.
And that's the only vowel you can use.
Wow.
So, and it doesn't mean that you have to use only words that have that vowel. No, you just adjust all the words. So parts that vowel.
So, for example, for anyone listening, if I have understood, if I was trying to say, if my vowel was the letter D, No, that's not a vowel. Brilliant start, David. If my vowel was the letter E, I was already ahead with my word, and I was saying the word dad, I would have to change it to dead.
Yes.
Ah, I get you. So, I love it. I love it.
In tick, vet, like that. So,
wow, we'll all sound Dutch.
Yeah. So we have to, you have to give me the vowels because I'm not very good with the English vowels, probably.
Oh, okay. Just out of interest, again, not trying to make this like the extreme language podcast, but it does happen. I was speaking to a guy on a previous episode who was in Moscow, and so we just ended up discussing Russian a little bit. What vowels do you have in Dutch?
Well, so the basic ones I'm just gonna mention is A, O, A, I, U.
Love it.
And then you will have all the ones combined, like the longer, the I-E together is more like E, or you have A, U, ow.
Okay, so if I'm remembering back from my drama school days, these were like the diphthongs as they're called. So okay, so it isn't just like choosing a letter A, E, I, O, U. It's actually the vowel sound.
Yeah, so you could.
I love it.
So we could, with a word like should, you have oo, right?
Ooh. Yeah.
Ooh. So you can pick that one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see how it works. I've noticed that the most it's especially works well if you take the dialogue or trialogue very serious.
Okay.
Because there's already so much going on in the language. We don't have to do anything to make it sound funny.
That's a really good tip. Yeah. Okay, so are we going to do it? Is it a 3-person game? Can we do it as, or is it 2-person? How would you like us to play it?
Let's say start out with 2 people, and then someone can enter.
Love it.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that works best because it's hard. We need some time to set it up.
Okay.
Platform with 2 people, perhaps.
Okay, so Theo, do you know this game?
I do now.
Okay, good. Okay, let's say you 2 begin, because if you're going to set it up, it might make more sense for me to enter because you 2 obviously are in the same room, so it might make it easier to set up. And then I'll enter. So what do we need? Do we need to give each other a vowel each?
Yeah, we do. So I'm gonna give you the let's see, the from what?
Oh, so yeah, what? So
yeah.
Okay. So Theo, I will give you the from like pet. So
Get it.
Excellent. Get it. Okay. And I've got from what? Okay. Theo, can you give a vowel sound?
I think the oo from poo.
Love it.
The oo from poo. Oku. Show. Okay.
Right. So where is this scene taking place?
Yeah.
What is this conversation?
You tell her.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say you're at a self-help kind of group for people who are addicted to knitting.
Are addicted to knitting. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Let's go.
And take it away.
Too soon. Was wondering if you have talked to your daughter.
Yes, Pam. Ahead. Take my daughter.
What would so about your daughter?
She didn't think I should anymore.
That was so Shoot to who?
With said me.
Oh no, goed, door zomer wordt mijn hoosbond.
Hello!
Oh,
Hello!
Hey.
Hello!
wordt door dovel, door mijn hoosbond.
Hello! How? Oh! Your Todor.
Oh, zwart of je to ask. Oh, for God.
What?
For God. But soort dat to jo. Dos morgen bo broekvorst.
Oh! Oh! Hod some ogs and saw jaws.
Oh, dat wat ho dos do tomo. Ho dos wat hos oton.
Sorry, that very emotionally there at the moment I can that here.
Okay, I'm gonna say Steve there. Well done, well done.
That game is so
Do you know
hard.
what? It's really hard. Do you know what? It also feels like the most ridiculous sound I've ever heard of a conversation. I was having to listen so hard, and with every word, I'm like, how can I just say oh? It's like saw. It's like that's the same. Jaws, saw jaws.
This is typically one of those games that you can practice very well on your own.
Yeah, it sounds
right. So just start talking out loud in the house. If you have a cat, even better, because then you can talk to your cat. But yeah, just try it out with any vowel.
Do you know, like the similar thing you say that this like made me think of? About a year ago, there was the movie about the making of The Room came out, The Disaster Artist. Do you remember it? Like The Room, like the worst film ever made. And like I loved The Room, and I loved it when The Disaster Artist came out. And I just like when you'd watch interviews with James Franco, who played Tommy Wiseau in it, he'd find doing the voice addictive, and I'd start like annoying my girlfriend and annoying my family just by doing the voice. And I was like, well, it's just like you need to change every vowel to an A. It's like, you're tearing me apart, Lisa. Like this. And it's like every vowel needs to be an A, and it's fine. But yeah, so I'll have to work on some of the other letters on that.
Yeah. And it's also what I do, just a little trick, is usually I just set my mouth.
I did notice.
I just set my mouth into the thing that it needs for that vowel, and then it's so much easier. You look ridiculous on stage, but it's fine. You look ridiculous so many more times on stage, and you don't. I mean, you're not up on stage if you would care about that. So.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go on to another question. We'll do one or two more bits, and then because like the time is flying by already, guys. It's amazing. Yeah. But so to ask you guys something else. So we always like to ask like for perhaps an anecdote or something of the way to phrase it is the best worst something that happened on stage or in a rehearsal, a workshop, or whatever, doing improv. So where something either did go wrong, or it felt like it went wrong, or it turned out brilliant because things didn't go to plan. And this can be anything from someone not understanding rules to falling backwards off the stage to a weird audience member, anything. Just any stories, guys.
I have a tiny one to start off with, where it has to do with language, of course, because we were playing with non-native English speakers and English speakers. And then I don't even know what the scene was about again, but I said something to my scene partner, like, do you want to share that with me? Something like that.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, she pulls out a chair.
Oh.
And I'm like, what happened here? You kind of have to go like, but it was so amazing because it was just, she, instead of share, she heard chair, and our scene changed completely because we had a reason to sit down and get more intense in whatever we were doing.
Did the audience pick up on that as well as you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet that was great.
Yeah. They, or at least some of them, because obviously in the audience you will also have non-native speakers, where some of them would have been on my end and some of them on her end and didn't get the mix-up at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was a fun bit where you go, oh, great. Such an unexpected thing to happen. Love it.
And how about you, Theo? The end. Yeah.
There was one moment where I was, it was with the group Theater Public Policy, and because we're like interviewing public officials and like people, like a lot of times it's like really, the information is like sort of boring, and it's like people talking about like, here's our plan to fix the roads for next year, you know, sort of stuff, which is not the most exciting, but we still have to like take that information and make good improv from it. But I remember walking into a scene once, and my scene partner in the moment was like very high affect and was like really sort of like sending a lot of energy at me, and I was not emotionally prepared for it. And the only thing I could think is I need to get out of this scene. So I just started slowly sinking down until I was on the floor, and he talks a lot. And so he just kept going, and I kept sinking onto the floor, and then he was still going. And so I started crawling off the front of the stage and crawled on the floor through the aisle of the theater. He was still going, and I was just crawling on the floor until I got about halfway to the back of the theater. And then finally someone started a new scene. But just a moment of being like following the impulse of my body of like, I don't want to be on stage right now.
Yes. Yeah. That sounds so great in terms of just like the comic thing, because if you're trying to make a subtle escape, the slower you do it, the more noticeable it is as well.
Yep.
It's like you're trying to slip out slowly and quietly and unseen, but it's actually anything but, which is a great thing in comedy. That sounds great. Do you know what? That has inspired me, because sometimes I found myself in scenes on stage. It's like, I need to get out of this. In times of trouble, Theo, I will think of you, and I will melt into the floor and evaporate away. Okay, so good. Let's come on to one final game, and it's a game we always play. It's an extreme monologue. Now, this is a version of a game that's been on the radio here in the United Kingdom for many, many years, called Just a Minute. And the way it works is only one player will be talking at a time. You'll be given a character and something that you're talking about, and you have to try and perform a monologue without repeating any words. Now, on the radio version in the UK, they'll let you repeat very small words like and if and the. But in Extreme Improv, you're not allowed to repeat any words. You're also not allowed to hesitate. So if you have an extended pause, or if you go or then that's also breaking the rules. Now, only one person will be speaking at a time. If either of the other players think the person speaking has broken one of those rules, just call freeze. If it's a correct challenge, then you take over the monologue, and then whoever is speaking at the end of the monologue wins the game, basically. Sound good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're gonna set a timer for this then?
Yeah, I have a timer in front of me, so I will keep time check of it, and we can all play this. So, Marith, I would like you to start this. Theo, could you suggest a character, a well-known character from fiction that she can do a monologue as?
Hermione Granger.
Hermione Granger from the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. And let's say you are upset because you forgot your wand. Okay? Hermione, you have forgot your wand without repeating any words or hesitation. Now, ready, Theo? If she breaks any of those rules, to shout freeze, and I'll do likewise. You're Hermione Granger. Take it away.
This morning, when I walked out of the house, suddenly the realization came to me.
Freeze.
Freeze, yeah. For what reason?
You said the twice.
Oh, walked out of the house, the realization. Okay, Theo, you take over the monologue. That was 11 seconds in. So 49 seconds remain. Theo,
All
take it
new
away.
words? All new words? Or
Oh, no. Don't worry. So once a new player takes over, you can start afresh. We won't say that you can't use the words that she's already used. So in your own time, take it away.
I had forgotten my wand. This was the worst thing that could have happened. I went.
Freeze.
Yep. Freeze.
The second I.
Oh, shit.
Oh, repetition of I.
Oh.
Do you know, I is so often the one that we get stuck on.
There's a literal freeze happening.
There
was a literal freeze
You were
with you
frozen.
on the screen. I thought we lost you there.
Oh,
But-
okay. So I was literally frozen on the screen.
Yeah.
Okay. I am back. For anyone listening who's wondering, this is not some Harry Potter magic. It's because we're doing this over Skype. It allows us to see and react off of each other a little bit better. Okay, so back to you, Marith, and here you go.
Whenever I'm going to my mother, the wand is what I need. So my bag.
Freeze.
That was mine again.
It was my. Now, I think I got in there, but it might be the time delay. I think because I've played this game plenty, and this is my only time to play it with you guys at the moment. I will hand it straight back over to you, Theo. So, no, don't despair. There's only 17 seconds to go, and here you go.
Wands are important to wizards. If they lose it, meanings that could destroy the world.
Freeze. Now, I think there was a hesitation or two in there.
Yeah,
I feel
several.
there are several. I do apologize. There is literally 1 second left. And I feel very cruel on this. There's many tactics to this game. Sometimes, like on the radio program, they'll be played with points, so the more times you can interrupt. But because we play as just like whoever can cross the finish line, a sneaky tactic we can use is just to try and dive in at the last moment. So get ready. You could still freeze me if you can spot a mistake in this last second. And here I go. Harry Potter was, and that is time.
That's it.
I feel very mean for that. Okay, but guys, one of the things we do after playing one of these games or one of the other games that could also use this, can I ask you guys for a couple of suggestions of characters that we could use in a future episode? I would have given you a character from a previous episode, but as I've sat here, for the life of me, I can't remember what the last suggestion was. So I apologize to our previous guest, and we will put that on to the next one. Okay, so a character from fiction for a future episode. Give us one each, in fact, so we've got a bank of them, and I'll have more chance of remembering.
Fiction. My head is unscrewed. You go.
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu. Oh, I love it. Do you know who Nosferatu is, Marith?
No.
Okay, so Nosferatu, it might also be like in the legend as well, but the very first film made about Count Dracula, it was still in copyright at the time, and they renamed the character Nosferatu, and so it's basically Count Dracula, but with two pointy teeth in the middle rather than like the canines being the fangs. Okay, so we have. I love it. That's a great character, Nosferatu. And do you have a character?
Yeah. No. Wait, it's coming to me. Oh yeah. I want Sully from Monsters Inc. You know, the big.
Love it. Yeah. Sully from Monsters Inc. That is a great one. Love it. Okay, that's really good. Okay, so guys, it's been fantastic talking with you both. Before we wrap it, can you just tell us, like, you know, anything you're up to at the moment, anything you want to plug, where we can find you on social media, all that kind of malarkey?
Yeah, sure. So, in a few weeks, I'll be going to France to the Strasbourg Improv Festival from my friends at Le Carpe Haute. If I pronounce that correctly, my French is very bad. So I'll be there with Rocky Amaretto, a Dutch group, but we also play internationally. So it's more personal stories and then playing scenes. And also with a new formation, the Wayward Witches, inspired by Macbeth's witches.
Ooh.
And like for Rocky Amaretto, you can find us online on Facebook. With the Waywards, we didn't go as far as making a Facebook page, so I'll leave that. As yet, but it's some of the same people as the Ferocious Four. So if they want to connect, the Ferocious Four is the way in. And yeah, I just want to plug myself. If you ever feel like you need an exotic Dutch person to come teach.
If you ever need a Dutch person.
I teach a lot of improv, both short form and long form. So I'm always up for that. If you're like, I don't know, there's not enough people in my area, let's call a Dutch person.
Absolutely. You know. Cool, brilliant. Theo, how about you?
You can find Blackout Improv on Facebook. I'm also on Facebook but it's just my regular page.
Yeah. So you're gonna get lots of friend requests from randomers now. So
it's okay. That's all right. Privacy.
You can block them.
It's a myth. So it's the main thing. Just Blackout. Blackout's sort of where my
and they're really good. I saw them in Amsterdam perform 2 weeks ago, and it really is worth taking a look at what they are doing. Yeah, for sure.
Fantastic. So one final thing before I wrap this whole thing up, I'd like to give everyone an opportunity to give a shout out to someone. Now, it can be to someone you know, or it can be to anyone in the world who you perhaps have never met. Who would you like to give a shout out to, and what would you like to say to them?
That's a difficult question.
Well, you could just say hi, Mum, if you can't think of someone, or you could.
A bit nerve-wracking. Like, I feel like, should I do a shout out to someone whose name I only know from Facebook? But that feels like stalking them, maybe.
Well, it could be a celebrity. It could be a fictional character. It's just a nice little improv thing to do at the end.
Yeah.
Do you know what you want to do? I would like to give a shout out to whoever thought of putting ice cream in a pint.
Love it.
Because it is just small enough to that when you start into it, you feel like you could maybe eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then if you do, you feel real bad about yourself. So,
do you know what? For a second though, when you said into a pint, maybe like in England, we'll just say a pint, meaning a pint of beer. And I thought you meant like you get a Coke float where you put a scoop of ice cream into like a Coca-Cola.
We do that in Minnesota.
What's that called?
A beer float.
A beer float. Yeah. Okay. Well, shout out to whoever came up with that idea as well.
Yeah, that too. But yeah, I just like you're feeling sad, you start eating ice cream, and before you know it, you've eaten a whole pint of ice cream, and you feel sadder. Thank you to that person for exacerbating my heartbreak.
Yeah. Okay, Marith, do you have a shout out? Have you got one?
Yeah, I've got one. I'm just gonna do a shout out to my entire family.
Do it.
Because they will always be an inspiration for many of my characters, many of the problems I bring up on stage, and also the joy.
You tipped it off with something nice at the end.
Yeah.
If ever there was a backhanded compliment. Okay.
Yeah.
That's brilliant, guys. So this has been the Extreme Improv Podcast. My name is David Pustansky. You can find me by searching David Pustansky on Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff. And because it's an unusual name to spell, it's Pustansky. Extreme Improv. You can find out all about with all of our social media links, Facebook, Twitter, and otherwise, by going to our website at www.extremeimprov.co.uk. And of course, please subscribe to the Extreme Improv Podcast, available on Google Play Store and iTunes and Podbean and Spotify and everywhere good to listen to the podcast. So until next time, thank you very much.